Okay, welcome from the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter study group for September 2022. This is our 54th consecutive class. We are the Florida chapter. We have the Northern Florida region for geography, but we have people that come to our study groups and participate in our chapter from around the world, and you are all welcome. If you don't have a home chapter, you're welcome to choose us as your home chapter. It is our job as leaders of this chapter or any of the chapters. It's our job to provide mentorship, answer questions, provide encouragement, help you network, help you find a better job if that's what you need, review your resume, help you with study questions, help you with situations at work. You know, you might need a specific technique, or you might need to understand, you know, they use this word and I don't understand this word. Just talking to somebody sometimes is helpful. That's our job as leaders of this chapter. So if you want a chapter and you don't have one, you're welcome to join our chapter. You are absolutely welcome. We have participants from all over the world that have joined our chapter, and you would be very welcome there. Our mission at our chapter is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower, instruct, and engage the BA community. Our mission used to say the Tampa Bay BA community, but we have outgrown that. We have people from so many different places that participate and contribute, and we are all richer for it. We have a variety of ways that you can reach us. First of all, this is our weekly study group on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. We have our meetup that has our activities that are coming up. This is Zoom Online that we use to do our meetings. If you would like to review any of our past meeting recordings, here it is in this turquoise highlight. You can get a list of everything that we've done, we have had technical difficulties sometimes, but we try to record them all. And as I said, this is our 54th consecutive. We probably have a good 48 out there. And I'll talk about what those contain in just a few minutes. The IIBA website, we have our own page there. We have our meetup, our Facebook, and then we have 2 different LinkedIn groups that you can reach us at.
Yeah, Tay, you're not sharing the screen.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. How embarrassing. Let me get that set back up because I thought I was doing that just now.
All that info is also in the chat too.
Yeah, okay.
I put it in there.
One more time, here are all the ways that you can meet with us, and thank you, Cliff, for putting that available for us in other places. As I said, we've been meeting for a long time. We've gone through several sessions. Some of these we did study test questions for the CBAP certification, which are also the test questions for the CCBA and the ECBA certification tests. 8 was how to apply for the test. This is the literal walkthrough of what you have to do to apply, the fees that are required. Is it better to be a member of the IIBA to take the test or not, etc. Then as you can see, we took about 2 meetings per chapter to go through each of those. Then we went into techniques, and then we went into our professional series where we had a variety of professionals come in and talk about the benefits of working with business analysts, what they needed from us, what we needed from them, and just getting an understanding of what each of these professionals do. 52 was one of my favorites. We got to celebrate Yulia's CBAP certification and hear exactly what she experienced just the week before. So that was really exciting for me. We are hosted by Watermark Learning. They've given us free access to their test questions. They've also given us a discount code. It's Tampa space 21. If you would like 20% off of any of your purchases through the Watermark Learning site. They have live classes that you can take online. I think they may have classes in person now. They've got video classes. They've got sample test questions. They've got flashcards, and they've got a couple of other things. So if you're looking for something, I'm not saying that they're the best or the only, but they're the ones that I use and that I've used for quite a while. And I really think that they do a fine job. We are a volunteer organization. You can see some of our board members here. Cliff is online with us here, being our president, and we need more board members. My name is Thea Raisins. I'm the Vice President of Career and Professional Development for the chapter. This is my LinkedIn website. If you want to reach me, you're welcome to reach me through LinkedIn. I try to keep all my professional correspondence in LinkedIn. Again, if you need help with any of the things I said earlier, LinkedIn is the way to reach me, and I try to review it at least once a day. As I said, we need new board members. If you're interested in leaning in for, say, 4 hours, or if you want to take on one of our roles, just contact me and let me know. What we have currently are people that have been in the position for several years, and sometimes you get tired of doing that after a while and you don't lean in quite as often. So we would like to do a few more things for our members, and if you have any ideas of things that you would like to see, let me know that as well. Our resident CBAP is Bob Churchill. Bob is our resident because he has been very consistent in attending these meetings, and for these meetings to have education credit with the IIBA, we have to have a CBAP in residence. Bob also has a website that you can see right here. It has a wonderful variety of very interesting blog posts and charts and concepts that are advanced beyond the boundaries of just business analysis, things that a business analyst would be benefiting to know. If you have questions for Bob, you can contact him here at this website. I'm sorry, at this email address. I want to celebrate the wins. We've had 2 members earn their certifications. Tish earned her ECBA on the 17th of August, and Yulia earned her CBAP on the 2nd of September, and she's with us here tonight. Yulia has also put together a really phenomenal spreadsheet of different elements that are in the different chapters that she provided to me, and you're welcome to ask me for it, and I'll be glad to share it with you. Yes, Bob.
I have some materials as well that map the techniques to the different study areas. I actually used that to send a couple of errata to the IIBA. So
very nice.
Be fixed in the next version.
Is it something that you'd like to offer people to use to study?
Just shoot me an email and/or I'll put it in the shared file area.
I'll send you an email because I'm no good with the shared files. That is just not my strength. Okay. Let's see. What we're going to do tonight is we are going to start reviewing the BABOK as though we never studied it before, and allow people to get an idea of what it's going to take to study the BABOK. If you have a physical copy, you know it's about 2 1/4 inches thick. It is full size. Here's Bob showing you the BABOK. It's a sturdy book. The IIBA is kind of, here's Julia with hers. The IIBA is kind of the little sister of the PMI organization. If you have ever heard of PMI's PMBOK, you know that they've got this thick book that you have to basically memorize to be able to take the certification test. And yes, here's the PMBOK. Thank you, Bob. And the BABOK is not quite as thick. It's not quite as mature, but that's something that we are going to be working on. I helped write version 3. I'm going to be a managing author for version 4. We want to make it better. We want to make it cleaner. We want to make it able to be understood by even beginning BAs. So that's something that we're going to be working on. So I'm going to go into some introduction of what the BABOK is. Just understand that the BABOK is our book of knowledge. It's the BA book of knowledge. That's how we got the acronym, and body of knowledge. And it is the book that you need to understand to be able to take the certification test to be certified as a business analyst. Now, there are 3 different certification tests for business analysis. One of them is very beginning. One of them is I have some experience, and one of them I have 5 or more years of experience. So depending on where you fall in there is which test that you would want to take, as well as what kind of preparation you need to do, how many hours of education credit you need to have to be able to apply to take the test. So let me jump into this one right here. The BABOK, one of the things that it provides to us is it gives us a common language for the practice of business analysis. Now, we are talking to business analysts from all over the world, and it's very easy, as you know, with different languages, different cultures, it's very easy to have different ways of expressing things, and this just gives us more of a common way to do it, especially with so many global businesses and people that are not co-located. This gives us that. So I'm not going to read all this to you. I'm going to read you the highlights. This is from the IIBA.org website. A guide to the business analysis body of knowledge is developed through rigorous consensus, data-driven standards process, incorporates a collective wisdom and experience of experts in the field from all around the world. It defines skills and knowledge required by business analysis professionals, covering the 6 knowledge areas, and you're going to need to know there's 6, and the business analysis competency model. The latest version, currently we're working on 3.0, extends its scope beyond business analysis in projects to address agile development, business process management, business intelligence, and business architecture. The concept model we'll talk about in just a minute. We did do some restructuring of knowledge areas to talk about business transformation a little bit better. The 5 perspectives covering the most prominent business analysis disciplines and demonstrating how to apply those to different situations, and then covering the new business analysis techniques. That one I'm particularly proud of because I did the business techniques chapter. Okay, whenever you're talking about the book of knowledge, I'm going to start with the back of the title page. Most people totally skip this, and I'll tell you a story about why I don't want you to skip it in just a minute. But this is the back of the title page. I want you to jump down here to Archimate or Archimate, Business Model Canvas, CMMI, COBIT, Mind Map, Scaled Agile Framework, TOGAF, Unified Modeling Language, and Zachman Framework. These things, you're not going to find all of these in version 3, but they're on this page. And the only reason I'm bringing this up to you is there were test questions whenever I took the test. And incidentally, I didn't pass it whenever I took it the first time. I was going through stuff and it doesn't matter. But whenever I took the test, there were test questions on these things, even though these things are not mentioned, not all of them are mentioned in the entire book. And I challenged the IIBA and I said, it's not fair that you would have test questions that you didn't provide material for the student to cover. And their response, and I think I can quote this, is this is a test for professionals. And as a professional, it's your job to dive deep and to do the research to provide yourself the background and understanding of all of the material required. So I'm telling you, you want to have at least a basic knowledge of what these are. I think the question, if I remember right, the question was Zachman Framework, but it's been a lot of years since I took the test. Okay, table of contents, we're going to skip that. And let's see, I think I need to jump to the next one here.
But honestly, when I was taking the test, I did not have any questions like that.
That's good. That's good.
So maybe they took your feedback and removed it.
Well, that would be great. There's probably 6 different versions of the test so that we don't all have the same thing. And we won't have the exact same questions, but that's kind of what we're going into. So
they did the same thing on the CBDA certification exam. the PDF you study from mentions about 20 or 30 different plot types, but doesn't describe how you use any of them. So you have to know those from other study.
Okay. I wanted to bring this to your attention. This is in the Institute I4.com. It's the BABOK Visual Study Guide. And I think this is very helpful. I thought about actually reviewing it with you, but I would literally be reading it to you. And I don't think that's what you want. But it does talk about how the book is structured. It explains the BACCM or the BACCOM in a way that the book doesn't explain. And it goes into some other details with some of this, that if you are studying for the test or if you're approaching this book for the first time, I think that this is a good way to kind of give you a high level orientation of what you can expect. You can see it, it's rather extensive.
Thea, where we can get this on the IIBA site, purchase this there?
Let me drop this in the chat.
Okay.
And as far as I can tell, it's free online.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
I think they did advertise on IIBA
There you go.
because I know I've come across it as well.
Okay. I will tell you that the IIBA does have quite a number of courses and materials and study guides that are accessible to you if you're a member. I do encourage you to explore those, as well as if you're a member, you can go into the IIBA and get access to a list of all of the study groups, meetings, seminars, blogs, all kinds of things by calendar. And these are all over the world. And, you know, just because you live in Alabama doesn't mean you can't attend one in Iceland. And the fact that people are doing that means that those meetings are even more rich and diverse and are going to have a more, it's going to be less flat. It's not going to be just local, regional understanding. You know, that's one reason I really appreciate people from all over the place attending this study group and participating, because you bring your own experience and your own knowledge to the table, and it enriches us all. Okay, so this one I think is really beneficial. I plan on printing this out for my future students as well. And then I found this. This is out of Quizlet, and this is the basic questions for chapter 1, which is the introduction. So I thought we'd go through this. I normally would go through watermark learning, but they don't have anything for chapter 1 for the introduction. They
removed it. We used to have it.
They did used to have it. And whenever I was looking at it, I was like, it's a cheat. But so I found this instead. So
can I add a comment?
Yes, Julia.
That link you sent is actually just an example of few pages. So they want to buy, that you would buy for $70, that visual study guide.
Okay.
That link is just an example of few pages.
Okay, well, I think the pages that it presented is probably giving you a really, really good overview. If you want to get deeper into it, you can. But studying the BABOK itself, you have to understand the way the BABOK language is. I very often akin it to studying a $100 bill so that you can tell what the counterfeits are. You know, if you learn it well enough, everything else is going to seem weird. So study the BABOK if you're going to study a great deal. If the BABOK isn't giving you the information in a format that you need, go look for something else. But I would always encourage you to study the BABOK first. Does anyone else on the call have any other things other than the BABOK that you would recommend? I know you said that the watermark flashcards were very beneficial for you.
Yep.
Okay. And Bob, you used a different company.
I used Adaptive US about 5 years ago, and they had this little concise summary of the BABOK, which was part of the cost at that time. I don't know if they still give you that particular book, but the class was excellent.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything to contribute? Okay. So I found this 20 questions for the introduction, chapter 1. So the term is techniques. The definition is different ways things can be performed with purpose, description, elements, and considerations. Is this true or false? If we decide this isn't effective, we can skip it, but I thought we'd
What
try.
is on the right term, on the right side?
This techniques is the term that we're defining. And it says that the BABOK says techniques is different ways things can be performed.
Okay, what is purpose, description, elements, and usage? What do we have there?
I'm gonna say true.
These are the sections that are within each of the techniques.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I heard it true. Let's go with
I
that.
agree with the true.
Okay. Next one is underlying competencies, guideline of resource required to change an input into an output. Guideline provides description as to why or how to undertake a task.
False.
It's not giving us feedback on these as Watermark does, but we'll see how we do. Okay, strategy analysis describes the work that must be performed to collaborate with SH.
Stakeholder.
Thank you. In order to identify a need of strategic or tactical importance, enable the enterprise to address the need and align the resulting strategy.
I'll say true.
Okay. Stakeholders, people who participate in a task or will be affected by it.
True.
Elicitation and collaboration. Structure and organize requirements discovered during elicitation activities, specify and model requirements, design, validate, and verify information, identify solution options that meet business needs, and estimate value for each potential option that could be used.
False.
Yeah,
I think they need some punctuation in there. Okay, choose the matching term. So here's the description: business analysis, planning and monitoring, elicitation and collaboration, requirements, life cycle management, strategy analysis, requirements analysis, and design definition, solution evaluation. So is that solution evaluation, guidelines?
Knowledge areas.
Six knowledge
It's
areas.
knowledge areas.
Oh, y'all are so good. Thank you. Okay, choose the matching term. I'm just going to let y'all tell me.
Business analysis, planning and monitoring.
Used to perform BA tasks.
Technique.
See how we do. Greater detail of why the task is being used.
A description.
Okay. Describes the task the BA performs to prepare for and conduct elicitation activities to confirm results obtained, describe communication with stakeholders once the business analysis information is assembled, and the ongoing collaboration with them.
Invitation and collaboration.
Okay. Click the term to match with a definition. Select from the list below. So let me scroll down. Okay.
Can we see the
Here,
is that
well,
is it
that
something to drag and drop?
no.
Oh. Oh, there you go, right there.
List. Okay, so let's start at the bottom. Results produced by performing the task outputs. are created, transformed, or changed.
Outputs.
Output.
Is this outputs?
That was my first thought, but.
My vote is to outputs.
Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see if typing works.
Oh, I guess you have to click the box and then click it?
Yay, we figured it out. Okay, a discrete piece of work. Each task is used in the following format. I think this must be tasks.
Yeah. See,
Okay,
can't
me
see
scroll
the,
up a little bit. Additional information in ways that a task can be performed, multiple techniques.
techniques.
I think it must be techniques, yeah. I would make the screen smaller so I could do this, but then we can't see it. Okay, we've got inputs and elements left. Well, this starts with inputs, so let's guess that. And
Yes, elements, yep.
okay, they need to work on this. Oh, provide the means to perform a business analysis task.
Oh, we have to think of the term, okay. Find the
Is
means.
this technique?
Describe.
I think it's techniques.
Describe various views of business analysis.
Perspective.
Tasks that involve manage and maintain requirements and design information from inception to retirement. Is this traceability?
Monitoring. Oh, I forgot my key area.
I don't know. Tell me.
The life cycle of requirements.
Requirements, life cycle, and management.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right.
We could be on a great team, guys.
Reflects-
Okay. Here's the structure. Reflects skills, behaviors, and characteristics and personal qualities to help one successfully perform. Is this underlying competencies?
Yes, that sounds like competencies.
Or capabilities.
Okay.
Solutions analysis. Or evaluation, excuse me, solutions evaluation.
Okay. Let's submit it and see how we did. Hey, we got them all right except one, guys.
Was that the last one?
It probably didn't like your S's on
know
the.
what? Did I misspell it?
Oh,
There you go.
Oh, okay.
It was just.
All right. I don't feel so bad anymore then.
That's crazy.
Guys, we did awesome.
Yeah.
Y'all
Woohoo.
have actually read this. I'm really impressed.
You know, I got to thank Yulia. I have to say, you're really inspiring because when you spoke of you're taking the test, I actually went to the IIB site and just to look to see what it would look like online. So I kind of psyched myself out for a little bit just to do it without really feeling like I prepared for it. So you helped a great deal with that because you put my mindset where I needed it to be, right? Clear space, all of that and everything to get prepared for it. So I was able to answer my little handful of questions and feel okay about it. So thanks again, Yulia. Look at you, a rock star, like all month long.
You'll be awesome.
I hope so. It's, having, our members like Yulia, sharing her experience, and it actually has a direct impact because I literally took her advice right away and I went to go get the cards, and I was already in a process of trying to work on a spreadsheet, but time kind of got in the way and everything. And Yulia, thank you again for offering that.
Yeah, yeah. We have almost half of our meeting to go. Do y'all want to go on into business
Yes,
planning and monitoring?
this is great. Yes.
All right, let's do 25 questions. Okay, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read it kind of fast, and I'm only reading it because some people learn better by hearing it instead of having to read it themselves. You have been hired as a business analyst for an initiative. The project manager informs you that your first task is to figure out what needs to be done, how you'll go about doing it, as well as exactly who needs to be involved with the work and how involved they should be. Which deliverable will you provide to the project manager as a result of these activities? The information management approach, the business analysis approach, requirements management approach, or governance approach? First of all, are there any of these answers we know are wrong?
Governance, yeah.
Information management.
So this one we know is wrong. Did we say information management is wrong?
Yes.
I don't-
Management is wrong.
So we're down to 2 questions. We've eliminated 50% of it, means we have 50% more chance of getting it right. So which of these do you think it is and why?
For me,
Business
I feel
analysis
like
approach.
requirement.
I'm sorry.
Business analysis approach.
Okay, that's the one I go
I was
for.
thinking B. Yeah, I was thinking B myself.
Okay, we're going to answer this. And it is correct. And here is the reason, and it's giving us where in the BABOK is this explanation. The business analysis approach identifies activities which will be performed across an initiative, including who will perform them, the timing, the sequence of the work, the deliverables that will be produced, and the business analysis techniques that may be utilized. I want to point out that this does not talk about how involved they should be, who will be involved in the work. I'm sorry, it says who will be involved, but not how involved they should be. So it's a little bit different, but we saw most of the elements up here that we're seeing down here.
That's what I was thinking, that from a BA perspective, that it's more general, requirements was too specific for the question.
Right. Exactly. Any questions on this one?
No.
Okay. Going to move on. All of the following are elements contained within the planned business analysis information management task. So this is the task, except plan traceability approach, requirements attributes, plan for requirements reuse, or plan prioritization approach. Are there any of these we know that are part of that task that we can eliminate?
The plan requirements reuse, I don't think that is, but that's just me. All the following are elements contained.
So there's a task called Plan Business Analysis Information Management.
Okay.
And all of these are part of that, except one of them is not.
So business analysis information management is responsible for how we are going to access and store information. It's a hint.
Store. Maybe, no, that is.
Is there part that says plan prioritization approach? The first three seem very familiar to me, but that fourth one doesn't.
It looks like.
All right, I have to say
Can
that one, I'm
make
not sure
an
about.
argument for all four. It's about what the BABOK actually says.
Right.
As Thea points out over and over again, and rightly so.
Okay.
I'm
Are y'all good with that answer?
I'm not on this one, no.
Okay, what do you think it should be?
Oh, I'm fine with it. I'm saying that I couldn't answer right away because I had to think quite a bit about it, but.
Okay.
I think
Why don't
The
we,
answer that you chose.
check this and see what it tells us, okay?
Sure.
Okay. This is not an element, a stated element for this task.
For
Let me-
governance.
Let me back up and make a statement about the CBAP certification and all the certifications. Now this is across a blanket statement. This is my own opinion. But if you know me, you know I've been doing this for a few minutes, and I've seen it happen too many times. This certification, all the certifications are good for only two purposes. If you want to take this and one of these two situations is in play, this is perfect for you. The two reasons are you want the certification for yourself. It's important to you. It's a goal you set. It's meaningful to you. Go for it. Then it's great. The other one is your current or a potential future employer values the certification. And if you go to LinkedIn, Glassdoor, DICE, wherever, and do a search for the acronyms that we're talking about, specifically CBAP, you're going to find CBAP preferred or IIBA certification preferred. For those companies, they want that certification. It shows them that you're serious about this, that you've put in the effort to get the certification. If you have one of those two reasons that you want the certification, this is great for you. If not, what you're doing is you're learning the information out of a book that in some ways does not line up with reality, but you have to learn it the way the book says and answer it the way the book says to pass the test. It helps studying for it as long as you have some experience and you can say, okay, that's how the book says to do it, but in real life, we don't do it that way or whatever. Because that way you can stretch your own imagination of maybe there's another way to do it. And maybe this is a new technique that I haven't considered. But that you need to have the reason why you're taking this test down and not just taking the test because you think you're supposed to. Okay, moving on. When conducting a thorough stakeholder analysis, the following resources may be required to be successful. Which of the following is the least likely resource to be used? Business policies, business analysis, performance assessment, current state description, or change strategy. This is a stakeholder analysis.
I think the performance.
I'm going to say B is what I'm saying.
Do I have a second?
Hold on, it sounds like guidelines and tools to me.
Current state description, yes.
At least I see guidelines and tools in this question.
Do you think that this is the answer we should choose?
Yes.
And I'll go with B as well.
Okay.
I think
I'll
A.
go A.
A.
Oh,
Okay.
you know, the funny thing is I thought A in my head. What did they say? Don't change your answer.
Okay, so business policies. This is not one of the stated guidelines for the planned stakeholder engagement task. If you'll look in BABOK 3.2.5, you'll see the entire list. And this is one of the state guidelines.
Yeah.
So this is one that's the least likely to be used of this list.
Yeah.
Julia, when we went through these previously, we said that a lot of these questions are really prickly and stickly, right? Did you find that the actual test questions were as prickly and detailed, or were they more common sense? Because if you look at these sections, the correct answers point to. They're all really, I don't always love the way they're framed. I thought the test questions got to the meat, and you could be a little more logical about it from your experience.
You know, watermark learning with your picky questions make you so prepared, like a Spartan, that you just fly through the test. So it's very good, but I remember it was like mix of straightforward questions and some questions which are picky like this one. You need to know your inputs, outputs, elements, guidelines.
I agree with that.
You must know them by heart. Techniques, just common sense. I mean, by looking at Excel, you or I create. So watermark will prepare you very well.
Okay, let's move on. When is monitoring and controlling the progress and performance of the business analysis work and planning improvement processes where required? Which of the following guidelines would be beneficial for Gwen in this case? Organizational performance standards, accuracy and completeness, business policies, legal and regulatory information.
Okay, first we need to think about what task they're talking about, right? So you mark, okay, I know this is task in this knowledge area, obviously we know our knowledge area, and then you try to figure out which guideline.
Mm-hmm. So let's back up for just a second. This knowledge area is about managing your job as a business analyst. If you haven't read the chapter or if you didn't grasp that, that makes a big difference in how you answer these questions. So which of the following guidelines would be beneficial for Gwen in this case? We can pick only one.
I can give you a hint. Look at planning improvement processes where required. Should give you a good hint.
Processes. So improvement processes makes me think of performance standards.
Or accuracy and completeness. Because
accuracy and completeness
standards
judgment call.
Specific business KPIs, which is different.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I was leaning towards the accuracy and completeness originally.
There is no such guideline in the whole book.
Nope.
I mean, I know the answer, I can tell you, but try to figure out just,
yeah.
Okay, which one does not make sense.
Well, to me,
improvement processes.
Accuracy is not a guideline.
Right.
So that's what makes me think that the first one, Yulia, that you were, you know, that makes more sense. My original was the accuracy and completeness, but when I think about guideline, the word, I tend to go for the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, same with me.
Go
I
for
feel
business
it's about
policies.
improving the process, which yeah, ended to organizational performance.
Okay. Let's check our answer. This is the only stated guideline or tool for the identify business analysis performance improvements task in which the task in question. These standards may include performance metrics or expectations for business analysis work. 3.5.5. Good conversation, guys.
Yeah, and folks, just an FYI, Yulia said it several times, and I don't know if everybody caught it. She gave us actually a framework and when we're looking at these questions. Now, Yulia, correct me if I'm wrong. What I heard first is in your own head, you have to think about what area, where are you exactly? Number one. So that's the first thing. If you don't know where you are, and Thea said it as well, if you don't know where you are, you're not going to be able to answer the question. Secondly, guidelines. The guidelines, after you figure out what area you're in, from what I heard from Yulia, it sounds like you really, really need to focus on your guidelines in each knowledge area. Your inputs and your outputs you can figure out. So she just gave us a small strategy, and Thea did too, if you actually heard it. And I don't know if you guys heard it, but I heard it. And guess what? I'm going to follow that. I actually made notes in terms of the order when I'm looking at the questions.
Mhm.
Because in
You guys
real
catch that?
exam, it's not going to be like we are right now selecting chapter. We know that it's chapter 3, right? But in an exam, you don't know. That's why you need to get used to idea. Okay, where I am, what knowledge area or task and knowledge area we are working about.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Yulia. See, this is again, it's just, this is what Thea was talking about. You have to interact and engage and not, and just, and listen. And what Yulia was saying is, you know, I caught it. She said it a couple of times. You don't hear something twice. And then Thea confirmed it. And I was like, wait a minute, there's a strategy right there. And also to Bob's point too, some of these questions can be kind of tricky. So there's a framework to work with, and then think about what Bob said once you get there.
Yeah.
Bob is genius. He barely studied and he went for exam and passed it, you know.
It's true.
Yeah,
We all agree. Okay, let's go to the next one. Rohan has been working with the business as a business analyst on city transportation project. He's recently identified a list of stakeholders who are directly and indirectly impacted by the change or who can influence the project. Rohan now wants to identify where and how each stakeholder will contribute to the initiative. What next steps should Rohan take to obtain this information? Study the organizational chart thoroughly to gain insight as to how the stakeholders fit into the organization. Collect the contact details of each stakeholder so he can reach out to them and learn more about them. Observe the stakeholders to see if they have positive or negative attitudes toward the project, or obtain additional information about the roles of each identified stakeholder on the list.
I'm going to say D.
Hold on. Yeah, I mean, yes. Sorry.
All
It's
right.
correct. And
Review.
why correct? Because you need to break down the question. He already identified this and that. So now he wants to identify where and how each stakeholder will contribute to the initiative. He's talking about the role.
Right, right. And in the real world, outside of the test, whenever you look at stakeholders, not only look at where they are in the organizational chart and what their titles are, but look at who goes to them for advice. Do they have people waiting outside of their cube or in their teams to ask them questions? Those are the people that have influence. It doesn't really matter what their titles are or how long they've been with the company. It matters if they have influence. Okay. For any change, BAs need to create and foster trusting working relationship with stakeholders. How can we best do that? Identify levels of decision-making authority regarding the processes affecting the change. Use organizational models to understand the relationship stakeholders have with each other. Learn which stakeholders have negative attitudes toward the change, or understand the influence structures and channeling among stakeholders.
I would say B.
Why?
Because within the sentence, we're talking about working relationships.
Mhm.
And in the organizational modeling, it's knowing who, what these roles are and understanding how those relationship, those roles interact with each other.
That's a good point.
But in the same time, organizational modeling can be a theory. It cannot reflect the true story in the organization.
That's correct, but it's a starting point, Yulia, and it's just helping to figure out, okay, these are the roles, because you have to kind of know from an organizational standpoint what those roles are. This is just my thought process. And then, like you said, the relationships, it may not be reflective of what the actual relationships may not be reflective of what that organizational model shows, but it's a starting point for you to start figuring out what those relationships.
They don't talk about starting point.
Okay.
How we best do that?
I gotcha. See, and this is going back to Bob's point where you're like, okay, it can get a little tricky in there. Right.
And I'm thinking it doesn't have to do with influence. So you can, knock out the bottom one, probably the top one,
Well, I'd say that D is the way to go.
I agree.
Just because that's the way things really work on the ground.
I don't want to have this conversation because I'm trying to tell you in my head, I was like, it's either B or it's D. And again, it's under, yes, the influence, and Thea said it already. I got to stop changing my answers.
Okay, so we're pretty sure that it's not A because it's not the
Correct.
decision-making authority.
Yeah.
We're pretty sure it's not C because it's,
Yeah.
we have nothing about negative attitudes. So we know it is B or D. So which one do we want to go with? I think I heard several Ds. Is that good?
You did.
Okay, let's check it. Correct. Understanding the nature of influence and the influence structure and channels within an organization can help build stakeholder relationships and trust, as well as develop strategies for obtaining buy-in and collaboration. Good job, guys. That was a great conversation.
In the Army, in the leadership school, they differentiated between formal leaders and informal leaders.
Mhm.
So one has rank of position, title, etc. The other is who really gets it done.
Yep, that's right.
True. That's true.
Who do you want to lead in a crisis that your life is in danger? I know who to choose. Okay. Which of the following is included within business analysis approach? Workshops, corrective and preventative actions, the timings and sequence of the business analysis work, or methodologies and framework?
D.
B is in boy?
Oh, I didn't. D is in dog.
D is in dog. Sorry. B's and D sound alike to me on my speakers.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody that agrees or disagrees?
I agree with D.
Okay, let's go. Okay.
Oh,
I was thinking that.
Is
The
the timings and sequence of the business analysis work is, look at this, business analysis approach.
Keyword approach.
Yeah.
Methodologies and frameworks are listed as guidelines and tools, but that's not what it was asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, this question is very bad because I was thinking, right, between C and D, but I was not sure if they're talking about guidelines, which I know methodologies and frameworks guideline, or timing. So this kind of question is really hard.
I agree, but
Maria, thank you for not making me feel so bad.
you know what? The fact that you were offered an opinion puts you above everybody who didn't offer an opinion. So you
Cut it down to 50%, so you're in the ballpark. You have to understand that in any test like this, you're going to miss some toss-ups.
yeah.
The key is to get more right than wrong.
Right. Okay. Incidentally, more right than wrong. Let's talk about what you have to get to be able to pass this test. First of all, it's not a published score. We don't know what it really is. But do we have any educated guesses between Yulia and Bob?
About 70 and above.
Okay.
I think so.
They grade you on each of the 6 knowledge areas.
Mhm.
And the other certs test you on different areas of the book, but the CBAP is the 6 main chapters of the knowledge areas, and you get like fail and about the same as everyone else and better. And Yulia got better on 5 out of 6 areas, so way above average.
Yeah.
So he killed it. And average in one section and below average in none. You could probably be below average in one section, I'm not sure. Passing is probably 60 or 70 in any section. 80 and above is great.
So as you're going through Watermark Learning, it's going to give you percentages. So you can kind of see how you could do on the test. understanding that whenever you take the test, you might not do quite as well as you do in practice. So it just gives you an idea of where to go to. This question is a perfect example of you have to know what the BABOK says, because in some companies, what we call a sponsor could be very different than what the BABOK says. What we call a project manager or any of these titles could be very different from what the BABOK says. So you have to know which one of these the BABOK says should fit this answer, this question.
Yeah, kind of
So-
memorizing too. Sorry.
True. So before any business analysis performance changes are implemented, who should be consulted to assess how they might impact the initiative? According to the BABOK, is it the sponsor, the domain subject matter expert, project manager, or implementation subject matter experts?
D.
Why do you think it's D?
Another one.
When you're talking about implementation, that's overall impact. And I would imagine the implementation subject matter expert will be the person or the individual who is pretty much providing the information about how, you know, the risks, the relationships to other systems and things like that that may be impacted. I could
Look
be
at
wrong.
B and do the same analysis.
And that's, yes, and that's where I was down to 50-50. I knew A and C were out and it was down to domain and implementation. And I prepped out
guess
again.
Domain, because that's what's going on now.
It is C. Correct answer is C.
Implementation Is
it?
It's C. It's gonna be C. I know.
The
I've
reason
been-
we're talking impacting the initiative. So let's try C and see what we get.
That's probably
Well,
right.
she knew it. She said, Yulia said, yeah.
I can't
Project
read.
manager is accountable for success of the project. Must be consulted if changes are implemented to, okay.
Because project manager is responsible for success of initiatives.
This is true. This
For the
is
whole
true.
thing, not
The
just that.
initiative, not the solution.
Initiative, yes. it is.
Yep, that you're right. You know, I think also, I think what I'm starting to get caught in is, you know, theory in terms of the BABOK and practice, right? So I'm balancing those things, you know, in my head as I'm looking at some of these, but that means I have more studying to do. More
Yeah, you just
reading
need to look
do.
at it, look at it.
Yes, you gotta answer the question based on the BABOK and nothing.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, let's submit this exam, view results. Okay, guys. Oh, I'm sorry, it's calculated all the ones that we didn't answer also. So we answered
How many did we answer?
8, maybe.
8, we got 6 out of 8. So what is that, about 75%?
75.
So 75 is not so bad. We can finish this. We'll start a new one on whenever we come back next week. If anyone wants to get your own membership to Watermark, it's not super expensive. They have different levels. You can do one, I think, for 30 days and then longer, you know, basically whatever you choose. And also, whenever you do a test question, whenever you do tests, you're able to select by the different chapters and just focus on just those, or you can do the whole, you know, all of the different chapters. But I personally like to do it chapter by chapter so I can focus in on that one and know how I'm doing.
But then you need to combine everything.
Yes, you do need
Because
a combination.
yeah, and we choose one, it's kind of biased, you know what knowledge area you're talking about. But
Right.
you need to handle multiple ones at a time.
Okay, so I'm going to ask everyone on the call, please read the business analysis planning and monitoring section again. We'll do this again next week and we'll do more test questions. We'll have more awesome conversations because y'all are going to contribute and we will make our scores better and our own understanding better. If you know anyone who's interested in learning, in taking the test, or just participating in this kind of activity, please invite them. The more people that we help, the more help everyone else. Okay. Okay, guys.
Can you ask people to post their names for those you don't know? Like Zoom user. Who
Right.
is that if they want credit?
You're right. If you want credit for this class, we do need to know what your real name is, first and last name, please. Also in the chat, as you post your name, if you don't mind, tell us how you heard about us. We need to know what's effective in our marketing to get this out. As you know, we don't charge for this class. We don't charge you to be a member of our chapter, but we want it to be effective and we want to help as many people as possible. So tell us how you heard about us. And if you want to bring somebody else or invite other people, throw it out there on LinkedIn or whatever. Let people know that we're trying to be effective and we're trying to help people. See y'all next week. I'm going to be sitting on my sister's bed in Midlothian, Texas, doing this class. And I hope, and Bob, where are you going to be next week?
I have no idea.
Bob is taking a 4-week cross-country trip and
Oh,
he's going to be telling us where he is as he goes. So we will all see each other next week, and I hope y'all have a wonderful, peaceful week.
we will. I look forward to playing Where's Waldo, but it's really Where's Bob, right?
It will be. Okay,
That's
guys.
great.
Okay, I will
Thank
talk to you
you.
next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Awesome.